Welcome to another informative episode of Housing Development, your go-to source for trending housing information in Nigeria. Today on the program, we shall be looking at the state of slums in Abuja and what should be the role of governors in the area of housing development, plus voices on the streets and more. First, let's see the news making major headlines in the housing sector. I am FLORA, your housing diva.
Property developers have called on the federal and state government to provide the required incentives in the built environment in order to attract investors to the sector. Speaking recently at the unveiling of the Mills Estate Katampe extension in Abuja, operators in the housing sector stated that access to lands, tax rebates by government, among others, were vital incentives that could attract investment to the industry. In his remarks at the ceremony, the convener, Abuja International Housing Show, Festus Adebayo, said investors would be attracted to the country's housing sector if the right incentives were put in place by the government, just as the Chief Executive Officer, Eximia Realty Limited, Hakeem Oguniro, noted that investments in the sector would receive a boost when the government provides a conducive environment. Gombe State Governor Inua Yahaya and the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, have performed the official commissioning of 150 housing units financed by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, through the Gombe State Investment and Property Development Company. Speaking at the commissioning occasion, Governor Yahaya said his administration remains committed to the provision of shelter to the people of the state, adding that he would key into the federal government's housing policies, especially the cooperative housing scheme, for the benefit of the people of the state. On his part, the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, stated that the federal government is committed to providing housing to Nigerians, irrespective of their socio-economic or political backgrounds. The federal government has concluded plans to produce maps to cater for the geospatial needs of departments, ministries, and agencies for planning and execution of projects and programs. The Surveyor General of the Federation, Adeniro Taiwo, stated this while receiving the President's Nigerian Institute of Surveyors, Alabo Charles, in Abuja. Taiwo expressed delight over the amenability of the Minister for Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, on the MAP project, saying the geospatial data would help in the implementation of government policies and there would hardly be any meaningful implementation and execution of projects without evidence-based decision for planning and execution of such projects. The federal government has called on the Nigerian Institute of Architects, NIA, to develop affordable housing solutions and design low-cost housing using local content to address the housing deficit in the country. Acting Head of Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieson, made this known at the grand inauguration of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Sonny Echono, as the 28th President of NIA and the 2019 to 2021 program unveiling of the Institute in Abuja. Yemieson noted that architects have an enormous role to play in addressing the housing deficit in the country by developing houses with low construction costs to make it affordable for the teeming Nigerian population, particularly civil servants.
My name is Hakeem Oguniro, founder CEO Eximia Realty Limited. Keep watching Housing on TV.
For full details of the news and other news making rounds in the sector, visit www.africanhousingnews.com. Many of Abuja residents live in informal settlement with little or no access to basic services. Here is a report on Abuja slums, a failure of affordable housing with Solomon Rango.
According to the United Nations Human Settlement Program in Nigeria, about 80 million Nigerians live in slums. The growth of slums around the Federal Capital Territory has largely been as a result of inadequate and non-affordable housing for all classes of the citizenry. This is one out of the so many growing number of slum areas in the FCT. The conditions of living around this environment is despicable, terrible, dehumanizing, and against every principle of human justice, to say the least. This is no less as a result of high cost of living within the city center, and low-income earners have no choice than to come to environments like this and subject themselves to low standards of living. The challenge of securing land tenure for the teeming populace, the high cost of building materials, inaccessible mortgage mechanisms for the poor, as well as the high rents of urban accommodation has been responsible for many of the city's suburban slums. The overcrowded nature of the slums and substandard houses also exposes people living there to infectious diseases such as tuberculosis, hepatitis, fever, pneumonia, cholera, and malaria. Poor sanitation and lack of safe food and water contribute to high prevalence of diarrhea within slums. In order to curb the rising number of slums in the Federal Capital Territory, government must come up with sound policies and take quick measures in providing affordable housing for the citizenry. Fortunately, we live in a country where we are good at actually doing nothing, but we will not stop talking until it gets to the relevant authority and they do something about improving the standard of living of every Nigerian. I am Solomon Rango.
The growth of informal settlement around the Federal Capital Territory has largely been as a result of inadequate and non-affordable housing for all the classes of the citizenry. I do hope the relevant authorities are watching and will do the needful. If possible, the slums should be upgraded for a better living condition. Nigeria faces a tremendous shortfall in housing provision. What should be the roles of state government in the provision of affordable housing? Take a listen.
As a fundamental obligation of any responsible government, the provision of affordable and comfortable homes for citizens and inhabitants of a country is non-negotiable. Since housing represents one of the most important needs of man, any nation that desires to prosper must, among other things, take the issue of housing and well-being of its people as top priority. Government's active involvement in housing and indeed other sectors of importance is essential and undeniable. The task of housing a nation such as Nigeria cannot be left alone in the hands of the private sector and indeed private developers. As much as the private sector have their own parts to play in housing delivery, government at all levels have a larger chunk of the responsibility in making houses affordable. State governments in particular can increase access to lands and develop initiatives on how to partner with developers in creating a leveled playing ground.
State governments have such crucial roles to play in affordable housing, starting with the most important thing of all, providing land, under terms that are favorable to developers. That is absolutely critical. And of course, the governor has the right to provide the necessary approvals and the consents that are needed for development. So that is the starting point, and so every governor should be looking to set aside priority land for affordable housing development. In addition, state government need to partner with the developers in the development itself to ensure that the process of approvals do not take long. I'm talking now about building consents and everything that goes with the development of a new property.
The federal government, through various ministries, departments and agencies, can drive housing development through favorable policies and regulations that allow developers free hand to operate. Also, the provision of incentives to developers will drastically bring down the cost of building and encourage participation in building.
Also, not even just at the state level, there need to be incentives for developers to be able to develop in ways that are affordable. What kind of incentives are we talking about? A developer ought to be able to develop and have the concession on issues like taxes. So tax concessions are important for development. This is critical. We're not hearing enough of that, but it's about time that we begin to speak about tax concessions for development. And so the role of states, the role of governors, their role in making affordable home ownership a reality in Nigeria is absolutely central to the process taking off.
Stakeholders in the housing sector believe that if the necessary conditions are met and the enabling environment is created, more and more private developers will assist the government in making affordable housing delivery possible, and this will have a multiplier effect on the end cost of houses and the ease of building them.
My name's Darren Spencer. I'm the MD of First Homes Africa. Keep watching Housing Development.
It is worthy of note that the challenge of affordability requires not just short-term fixes, but also long-term strategies. Solutions will need to address both the supply side and the demand side of the housing market and involve the public sector, the private sector, and non-profit stakeholders. It is time for Voices on the Street with Raphael Adewoye.
Thank you, Flora. Today on Voices on the Streets, we will be asking people where they prefer to live in Nigeria. Come along as we hear the voices on the streets.
I prefer Port Harcourt.
I prefer Kaduna State.
Yeah, I feel comfortable in Lagos.
Jos, just Plateau.
There's nothing special about Abuja to me.
I would prefer Abuja.
Port Harcourt is a place that you can interact easily, you can communicate easily, and you can as well, if you are talented, if you have something doing, you can make it. You can start from a point and you will make it.
There are many states I will be comfortable living in, apart from Abuja. I live in Kwara. I was born in Kwara. If I'm in a lorry now, I have no complaint.
You know, the major problem we are facing here in Abuja is it has to do with rent and mobility. If you are not mobile, you find it difficult to stay in Abuja.
Lagos, is a place you can hustle, make money, understand, so that you can become somebody.
In the aspect of Jos, the weather there is calm, it's not too harsh, it's friendly, and you know, you can go about your job, you know, peacefully, without much stress compared to Abuja. The issue of hold up here and there, this and that and that. So that's why some of those places, you know, would have been much more better than Abuja.
There's no other state I prefer to live for now, because I've been living in Lagos and work actually brought me here. So going to another state, especially in the situation of Nigerian economy, I don't think I can live in any other state for now.
Ibadan, that's Oyo State, because I like the place very well. The life is very simple, and then if you want to buy something, it's not cost like Abuja here. That is why I like Ibadan.
I prefer staying at Nasarawa. Nasarawa is close to the FCT Abuja, and the environment in Nasarawa, I think, is very conducive to me. The security there is so okay. Due to time I do visit Nasarawa, and I see the security there is very okay, even more than the Abuja.
And that's the bit today on Voices on the Street. Nigeria is a beautiful country, and the choice of where you would live totally depends on which state and area you are most comfortable with. Now we'll take you back to Flora in the studio. My name is Raphael Adewoye. Are you looking to purchase low-cost houses? Then grab this opportunity to become your own landlord. For as low as 1 million naira, you can own a studio flat, 1-bedroom terrace bungalow, 2-bedroom semi-detached bungalow, or even a 3-bedroom terrace bungalow in Nasarawa State, Ogun, Kano, Kaduna, and Delta State. Don't miss this opportunity. For more inquiries, call 0813-241-4810 or 0816-638-4591.
Thanks, Raphael. Moving on, the grand inauguration and program unveiling ceremony of the Nigerian Institute of Architects took place recently in Abuja. Here are the sights and sounds.
Architects are usually very handsome. The grand inauguration and program unveiling ceremony of the Nigerian Institute of Architects took center stage on the 21st of February at the International Conference Center in Abuja. The high-profile event, which was a celebration of the 28th president of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, Architect Sonny Echono, was widely attended by dignitaries and top figures, both from within and outside the country. In his welcome address, the chairman of the occasion, who is also the 10th president of the NIA, Architect Olufemi Majiakodunmi, congratulated Architect Echono and gave good wishes for the new national executives of the institute.
We are celebrating one of our own who's just joined us. He'll become a past president like the rest of us, but as of now, he is our Oga. And we celebrate you and we thank God for you. We pray for you that you continue to lead this very, very important aspect of civilization.
The Vice President, who was represented by the Deputy Chief of Staff to the Vice President's office, noted that the very important role of architects in the society cannot be set aside as they plan, build, and perfect all structures and monuments in the society.
I hope that the exemplary leadership of the new executive can take the Nigerian Institute of Architects to new heights, and the expertise fostered here will continue to be of immense value for our great nation.
The profession, as we understand it, is to create and influence how we live, how we work, and how we play every day.
We are very proud of this young man, and we come here not only to celebrate with him, but also to celebrate with the Nigerian Institute of Architects, and indeed with the federal government of Nigeria.
While giving his keynote speech at the event, former Vice President Architect Namadi Sambo described Architect Echono as an exemplary leader who has distinguished himself among equals, just as the head of service and Minister of Education commented on the impact of the new president on all sectors. He has ascribed an indelible mark of excellence.
I'm happy to see that Architect Sonny Echono, the 28th president of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, have not only had an exemplary career in the service of our great nation through the civil service, but has also distinguished himself among his peers.
He is among the best civil servants in the country, and it was no exaggeration at all. Under normal circumstances, the political head of a ministry is supposed to be the mentor of the civil servants under him. I think he has made my work so much lighter, so much fun. I really don't know how to thank this man.
The man of the moment, Architect Sonny Echono, while giving his inauguration speech, expressed profound gratitude to all those who have shown support to the new NIA executives and pledged to discharge his duty as president to the best of his ability.
I consider it a great honor to be called upon to lead our noble profession of architecture at this uniquely challenging time. I am also humbled by the massive show of support and goodwill across the various strata of our membership since our election in November of 2019.
Dignitaries, both present and represented, gave their goodwill messages, as the event also served as the official unveiling of the NIA programs for the period of 2019 to 2021.
My name is Francis Ekeng. I'm the founder of First Homes Africa. I want to tell you to keep watching Housing Development Program.
Abuja International Housing Show.
It's about the whole of Nigeria, the whole of West Africa. You have stakeholders coming from all over and in fact globally.
It's an excellent way of bringing thought leaders, investors
to come together and figure out ways to increase capacity in developing housing.
greatest couple in town.
Good day, sir.
How are you? Oh, sit down, sit down, sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Drinks?
No, we're fine, sir.
How was the moon experience?
It was quite an experience.
How about house?
We are renting at the moment, but we intend to save enough to own our own house, right?
Why not avoid all those Shylock landlords and own a house up front? With the average income and cost of building houses today in Nigeria, mortgage is the best option. No sweat. I tell you what, that was how I got my first house, and I've never regretted it.
To make good homes, and by implication a good society, an individual is expected to have an abode from which to take off and return at the end of each day. At the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, everyone deserves a home. Come join us at FMBN and let's shelter Nigeria together.
A hearty congratulations to architect Sonny Echirno on his inauguration as the 28th president of the Nigerian Institute of Architects. Now, from the 21st to the 24th of July 2020, the Abuja International Housing Show will take center stage. The show will host international exhibitors of housing and construction wares, affordable mortgage, building construction materials, home interior decorations, home and office furniture, roofing sheets, blinds, tiles, mixing and interlocking machines, paints, home lighting, cement and many more innovations in the global industry. International contractors, investors, developers and mortgage banks will also participate at the show to favorably compete in an atmosphere of excellence, innovation and creativity where bargains are very affordable for the buyers. High-level sections like the CEO's Forum, Housing Finance Conference and Stakeholders Panels, among others, will dominate this year's show with the mandate of establishing realizable goals and objectives for housing development. Among other things, the show provides opportunities for networking, home ownership, professional development and policy development for the housing sector.
We believe the Abuja International Housing Fair is a good platform to showcase Alaro City and to reach our target market and to let the market know what good things are happening at Alaro City.
There's really a lot of business going on and lots of things happening, and that's good. I think people seem to be quite happy with it, so it's actually giving positive things to the market.
This event is a timely event. I think it's come at the right time. That will help fund development, and you should see more affordable homes being built here in Nigeria. It has been a fantastic event. A lot of speakers, a lot of solutions have been propounded, and then also in addition, it's not just talking now. There's also been put in place measures to make sure we follow up.
I've been attending the shows regularly for the past 3-4 years, and I've noticed a significant improvement, especially with the international dimension the show has. I'll tell the organizers to keep up a good work and maintain the tempo, because nothing succeeds like success.
And that's why I wrap up today's episode of Housing Development. Thanks for watching. To watch today's episode and previous episode of Housing Development, you can do that via the YouTube channel Housing TV Africa. I remain Flora Ani, your Housing Diva.